I've got some crazy stories though. That some people wanted to kill me. My brother one time. I did prison sentence. My brother. My brother ended up dying in prison. He went to Tennessee prison with me. He just passed away a couple years in that very prison system. So I had, God bless me at least to be able to spend some time with my brother before he died in the prison system. But his name is Michael. And he had got into it with a gang member one time over some money, over a drug deal. And it was the white boys, and they were going to come down. There was the Aryan Nation, and they were going to come down and kill him the next day. So we rounded up a few guys, and we basically had a whole standoff on the yard with these guys, man. And I thought that I was going to die that day. Like, I was prepared to do it. I was like, dang, man, it's my brother. I can't let him just kill him, so I'm going to have to go with him. And we had about 4 or 5 real deal straight up killers riding with us. And luckily, man, the president of the Aryan Nation stepped up and said, well, this is going to be a one-on-one fight. And I was thankful for that because I knew my brother could handle it. And then the dude that my brother was into it with ended up backing out off of that. And when he saw that he didn't have all his boys going to have his back on that, he ended up backing down, and they didn't even fight over it. So that was a crazy experience because I thought for sure I was going to die that day. I said, I'm really going to die. But I lived through it. God pulled me through that day.
If you don't mind me asking, bro, how'd your brother pass in prison?
So his bunkie, we're just going off of hearsay, and then of course there was an autopsy, and who knows how much you can trust a prison autopsy. But his bunkie said that he was like feeling sick over the weekend, and his bunkie left out of the cell and kind of did a lap around the dorm and stuff and came back. He said when he left my brother was sitting on the edge of the bed drinking a cup of coffee, just waking up in the morning. And so he said when he came back in the cell that my brother was just laid over dead. And that's the testimony from my brother's bunkie, my brother Selly at the time. So, of course, my mom got all involved, and the prison wouldn't give her any answers. Tennessee prison system, man, they're scared to death of lawsuits and stuff or whatever, so they're not telling her anything. So she got a hold of the people that were doing the autopsy, and they said what had happened was he had gotten sick and got something called sepsis, which is basically an infection that gets in your bloodstream, and if it gets to your heart and stuff, it kills you. And it gives you flu-like symptoms. So the symptoms that he was having were, in accordance with what they diagnosed him with. But that's what they said the cause of death was sepsis. He was young. I say young, he was 40-something years old, and he was healthy. He worked out all the time. He's in real good shape. They used to call him John Cena because he was big. He's like 6'3", 6'2", and he's real big, real muscular. So it was a shock to me. It was a shock to my mom. And actually my mom, it really shook my mom so hard. She never thought I was going to make it out of prison because it really got her gun shy on that. Because when my brother, her other son, died in prison, I'm her only other son, and here I am in prison. So she's worried to death that I'm never going to make it out. So man, when I did walk out, it really, she was very thankful.
Dang, bro, that's crazy. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. So where did you go to prison next? What state was that, the second trip?
So Kentucky, I got caught up in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
And what were the charges in that state?
The charges, I have 4 counts of fraudulent use of a credit card. So
and how much time were you sentenced to?
I was sentenced to 4 years on each count. They ran them all concurrent. So
Okay.
basically I have 4 4-year sentence running into one.
All right, so go ahead and I guess start with the first day in prison in Kentucky. Maybe the difference of the prison system in Kentucky compared to Tennessee, and then just continuing on with some prison stories, how you did your bid, crazy stories, funny, goofy, weird, how your prison experience was in Kentucky.
Gotcha. So Kentucky, the way they do the prison sentences there are a little bit different. You have class felonies from class A to class D. A, B, C, and D. So I had a class D felony. My were the lowest level felonies, which was the credit card stuff. That wasn't considered violent or anything like that. So everybody that has class D felonies go to what's called class D facilities. And basically you wear plain clothes, you got washers and dryers in your dorms, you go out every day in the community to work and stuff like that. So it was a lot different than the prison system that I was used to in Tennessee. So
Pretty much like work release.
yeah, it was just like work release, man. Except not everybody, only a couple of people had paid jobs, and most people were just working. Like I worked at a park, I worked at a city garage, you know, working on, you know, police cars and fire trucks and ambulances and things of that nature. So it was different. So nobody there was really trying to get in trouble, because if you got in trouble there, they shipped you to a real prison. So everybody was basically on their best behavior there because it was so sweet, right? Nobody wanted to lose that. But guess what? Me, being stupid, I decided I was going to start smoking weed in the prison system. Again, just being dumb, man, because I had access to it. And I snuck some weed back in and got high, and somebody snitched on me for it, because, you know, that's how people get out of trouble there. And they came and drug tested me the next morning. Sure enough, boom, I failed the drug test. And they sent me to a real prison in Paduka, Kentucky. And that was crazy. It was this, like a redneck, little small country town, like the devil's armpit, man. And that place was so corrupt. They were killing people there. They were doing all kinds of beating people there. People would just come up missing. We didn't even know where they went. Neighbor sleep next to me, smarted off to the police. They took him off somewhere. We hear screaming, and boom, never saw him again. You know, so I mean, it was just, it kind of scared me, actually. I was like, dang, I need to do what I'm supposed to do to make it up out of this little prison system, because I didn't have, but they had parole there. So I went up for parole, but I had a DR for fighting and smoking weed, so they knocked me for another year. But if you stay out of trouble, between the first time you go up and the second time you go up, they release you. So I stayed out of trouble. I did right in that little prison system, and they released me. I made parole, but I didn't have anywhere to go, right? I was basically getting out homeless. So I wrote this place called Disman's House, and I went there upon my release.
All right. What about anything else crazy in that prison system there in Kentucky?
So
give me some stories, man. Funny, goofy, weird, cool, crazy.
So it's and Kentucky's different. It's the little camps there are super small, so everybody's kind of like a family. Like all the inmates in there, the incarcerated individuals, we're like a little family. So we're real tight knit, man. And we all got different stories. We all come from different backgrounds. Some people were coming from Louisville. Some people were coming from E-Town, which is Elizabethtown. And some people were coming from the country parts, man. And so it's just this eclectic group of people. And you just hear all these different stories, man. And some of them are just straight gangster with the gold teeth and stuff and tatted up. And some of them are just country, as big beards, looking like ZZ Top. They don't make you cut your hair there and stuff. So being around this group of people, man, and the camaraderie there, because, you know, in the prison system, it's us against them, right? It's us, it's the inmates against the officers, right? So we band together quick, and the officers were severely oppressive there. So anytime you're under real oppression, you form a you know, camaraderie in that. So a lot of the guys, man, we just hung out a lot, and we got to know each other, and we were able to put our differences aside, man. We cooked together, we ate together, we watched TV shows together, we played dominoes together, spades together, gambled together, had workout competitions, who could do the most push-ups. One of the craziest things I ever saw was there's this running thing in prison. I've seen it a bunch of times, but the first time I saw it was there, is a guy said, man, so soups, ramen noodle soups are like prison currency, right? And everybody wants them. So dude said, man, I'll give you a whole case, which is 24 ramen noodle soups. If you can drink, if anybody in the dorm can drink 10 tumblers, 10 cups of water, basically, like, I don't know, they're like 20-ounce cups or something. And it sounds easy, but you got to do it in 10 minutes. They said you got to do it in 10 minutes, 10 cups in 10 minutes. And it sounds easy, because I thought about it. I was like, dang, 10 cups of water in 10 minutes? Well, so the guys were lining up to do it. And they get to about 4 or 5 cups, and then be like, all right, we can't do it no more. But this one guy got to 7 cups. He drank 7 cups, but then he projectile vomited like the Exorcist. All of that water everywhere. Nobody, long story short, nobody could do the 10 cups for the case of soups. But that's just a funny memory. I remember, you know, guys got all these little schemes and stuff, and oh, come on, I bet you can't do this, or I bet you can't do that, you know, in the prison system. So
you're saying that for the most part, the prison system in Kentucky, or at least the prisons that you were at, it was more just laid back, and people were just doing their time, staying out the way.
Yeah, it was laid back, it relaxed,
no
man.
politics.
I mean, there's that, you know, it's a lot of prison politics, man, but it's on another level, you know, it's not on a violent level. It's on a, you know, they use they're a hierarchy system. They're getting favors because certain people can get certain people jobs. You know, everybody wants the best jobs. People want to go out and work in the parks because they're around all the girls all day long, you know, out there hanging out at the parks, and they don't want to be working in the trash job. Well, you know, there's that type of stuff going on. So they buddy up with certain people and do favors for certain people to get certain jobs, you know.
All right, so let's get back to so Florida was your last bid, right?
Florida was my last bid, man.
All right, so what'd you go to prison for in Florida again? How much time? And then go ahead and start off with your first day, and then just transitioning into the Florida prison stories.
Okay, so I went to Florida prison for multiple charges across the whole state, ranging from burglary to armed burglary to grand theft motor vehicle to dealing in stolen property, all kinds of just theft type charges. This time I didn't get any violent charges. Well, they consider burglary violent, but like no assault charges or anything like that. So I got multiple different sentences out of multiple different counties, ranging from 2 years all the way up to 10 years. And I got like 20 10-year sentences in Okaloosa County, but they ran them all in the together concurrent. So it's basically like one 10-year sentence, and it ate up all the other little small sentences because everything was run concurrent throughout the whole state. So basically I did 10 years, but I got 2 years first, and I almost did that whole 2 years before I got my 10 years because I was going back and forth to court, all these different counties, you know, because, you know, I got 2 years out of Pasco County, went to, you know, Orlando Reception Center, go to my permanent camp, and then I go to different counties. I'm catching all these other cases. I mean, not catching all these other cases, but I'm catching all these other sentences, and they're just running them concurrent with my other sentences. So anyways, essentially, I ended up doing 10 years. But my first day in Florida prison system was super crazy because in Tennessee and in Kentucky, you got air conditioning, right? I never even heard of a prison system without air conditioning because the two prison systems I'd been in two different states had air conditioning. So I'm thinking that's just the norm across the country. So I remember my bus ride from the Pasco County Jail to the Orlando Reception Center. A dude was telling me, it was like mid-spring, and dude was telling me that it's gonna be hot in the cell when you get in the Florida prison system because there's no AC. And I remember I looked at him and I horse laughed. I was like, yeah, right. I'm thinking this dude's trying to run some kind of weird game on me or whatever, you know, old con game, I don't know what his angle was, but I was like, man, come on, man, whatever, man. So I remember going in there, and in the initial reception center, there was air conditioning, not the actual dorms, but in the building we went into where we changed out of clothes and all that stuff. There was air, so I didn't think nothing about it. But I remember going to my cell at Orlando main unit, and there was like a window. You could crank the window open and stuff. I thought that was kind of cool. I was like, wow, there's a window here. I ain't never seen a window you could open in a prison. So they had this little window with this little metal screen on it, and it started getting hot outside midday, about 3 o'clock. It started getting kind of hot. And I asked my bunkie, I said, hey man, will you close the window so the AC will stay in the cell? And he looked at me, he's like, what? What do you mean so the AC will stay in the cell? I said, yeah, dude, all the AC is going out the window, man. It's getting kind of hot in here. So he's like, dude, there's no AC in the cell. I said, yeah, there's a vent right there. But I didn't realize the vent was just like, I don't know what it was for. It was a return vent. I don't even really know, but it was a vent. And I thought it was a vent with AC because it's the same looking vents in Tennessee prison system, little square, great vents. And he says, dude, I promise you, that's not an AC vent. He said, that vent sucks in, it doesn't blow out. I said, no, dude, that vent blows out. And I was stuck on it. And so what we did is we ended up taking a piece of toilet paper and holding it up to the vent. And sure enough, as soon as I held that piece of toilet paper up to the vent, it sucked right to the vent. And I said, oh my goodness. So it hit me. That dude was telling me the truth on the bus. There is no air conditioning in Florida prison system. Well, there are some camps, but most of 90% of them there ain't. So I came in during the summer, and that was the hottest. I was mad about coming to prison already, but then I was really mad. I was like, this is insane. It was the most inhumane thing I thought that a person could do to somebody is put somebody in a cell with no just stuffy heat like that, 100 and something degrees outside, one of the hottest states in the country. So that was crazy to me. That was a shock. That blew my mind right there. I said, I don't even know how they get away with doing that.
So what else were like some big differences compared to Kentucky and Tennessee prisons to Florida?
So So as far as the prison politics goes in Tennessee, they're serious. They're about their money, right? Everything's on the up and up. They don't want no robbing going on. You know, they don't want a lot of crazy stuff going on because it brings the police, it brings heat. So when you get heat, people start snitching and telling because now they're trying to get out of trouble. They're trying to get out of the door and they're trying to check in. They don't want people checking in. They want to kind of create a safe environment to where everybody's vibing, because that's where the money comes in. You know, the plugs want it to be, they want a nice, cool, relaxed environment with no heat, keep the police at bay, let them do their thing, because these people are paying house notes and buying cars from inside of prison. They're feeding their whole families from inside of prison. So it's real deal to them. You know what I mean? It's their livelihood for real. So, anytime anybody, you know, talked about just robbing people for no reason, you know, they put a stop to that immediately. They don't allow that to happen at all. So it's not, unless you're really just doing something stupid in Tennessee prison, you're pretty much safe. I mean, people are going to try you as far as like cutting you in front of line and stupid little stuff like that. And you kind of got to stand up for yourself to nip that in the bud there. But other than like just people just running down on you with knives trying to kill you because you got a little sack of dope or something, that's not going on, right? Because the gangs make sure that that don't go on because people start telling. You know what I mean? Then you're messing up whole plugs. You're getting officers fired and all kinds of stuff because they're telling them the whole operation. So in Florida, when I come to Florida, they don't care. There is no honor amongst thieves. There is no nothing. The gangs don't care nothing. The gangs are the ones robbing everybody. And then they wonder why they getting caught up all the time. They don't get it, right? So it was a stark contrast from a Tennessee prison politics to Florida politics. And it was just so watered down here in Florida. Like it's like the Wild Wild West. I mean, anything goes. There's no respect. There's no nothing. Gang members are killing their own kind. It's nuts. And I really thought, man, I was in some serious situations, man. And I kind of wondered sometimes if I was going to make it out of this Florida prison system.
So what were some of the crazy experiences you had in the Florida prisons, man? From crazy, violent, goofy, funny, weird, all the above, man.
So let's see, the Florida prison system, man. Violent. I tell you what, one night, late at night, man, I just kept on hearing like a slapping sound in the bathroom, right? I didn't know what I thought maybe somebody was fighting. You know, you could hear it. You could tell it was like a hand hitting somebody's face. And but I thought somebody was fighting for real. So I was gonna let the fight go through and be done because I got to use the bathroom, but I didn't want to go in there while they was fighting. I don't want to be a part of that. You know, somebody gets told on, they start thinking you told and all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm trying to be a convict about it and just let it. But man, 20 minutes go on and they're still going at it. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I eventually said, forget it, man. I got to go use the bathroom. So I get up and I go use the bathroom, and there's a dude got another dude been over the bathroom stall wall and just been pounding him for a minute. And that was just crazy to me. I was like, dang, and this dude was a gang member. Like where I come from, gang members get violated for doing that stuff. Well, in Florida prison system, they don't even roll like, they don't even care. They do what they want down here. So that was something crazy. It shocked me and I walked in on it. As soon as I walked in, I was like, oh, I turned right around and left because it's serious when you see gang members do things too, man. And if you don't go tell another gang member, it's a lot of politics involved in that stuff, and I just didn't want to be involved in it. So I turned around on that one. I saw a lot of violence, man. I mean, I saw fights, stabbings all day, every day, man. It's just a thing to do there. But some funny stories, man. I've seen officers fight each other. And that's a common thing, you know. Officers, they get mad at each other. Officers get into it with us, and then we'll take it in the barber shop, right? Because it used to be, and there's cameras in there now. It used to be no cameras in the barber shops. And but I've seen officers go in and fight each other and come out bloody as heck. It's just, like I said, man, Florida prison system is like the Wild Wild West. You didn't see that in Tennessee prison system. The officers are way more professional there. Florida prison systems, officers are hood and gangster and selling the dope, and it's off the chain in Florida prison system, which is just, it's not an environment for rehabilitation at all, man. It's literally like living in the hood in the Florida prison system because the authority there is so corrupt, it's not even funny. They're the one, they're putting cigarette hits out on people, you know. I mean, it's crazy, man. So
If you were to say the craziest thing you've seen in a Florida prison, what would it be?
it would be on a violent tip. The craziest thing to see was at a reception center. I was at Washington Reception Center. I'd just come back from one of the counties, getting some more time, and boom, they sent me back to the reception center, right? So I'm in the reception center, and I hear this dude arguing with another guy, man. And I'm kind of waking up in the morning. I don't know, it's like 9 o'clock in the morning or something. I'm just waking up, and this dude's like, man, you don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. He's telling this guy, man, you don't want to do this. And the dude's just all up in his face. Da, 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 da. And the guy's just like, man, please get out of my face. Please don't do this. Please. He's basically pleading with the dude, man, I don't want to go there with you. And then all of a sudden, the guy had finally had enough of that dude being up in his face. And it was a little white dude, man. And you really don't, you look at him, you don't think he could fight at all. But that dude reared back and hit that dude and knocked him on the ground. And when he got on the ground, he got on top of him like you see in the UFC, and they mount people and they just start jacking them like that. Well, dude did that. And then dude just went unconscious. And you know, like in the UFC, when you see people do that and they go unconscious, the ref comes in and breaks it up. Well, there was no ref there to break it up. So dude just kept doing it and doing it for like 2 minutes. And when 2 minutes pummeling somebody like that, I was watching it and I'm thinking, I'm fixing to witness a murder right here, right 2 bunks down from him, because he's got him in the middle of the bunk aisle, and dude's out and there's just leaking blood all over the place. Just blood, a pile of blood just getting bigger and bigger. This pool of blood is bigger and bigger. And dude's got blood all over his arms from just hitting him and hitting him. And he just snapped and went crazy and just wouldn't stop. And then what was crazy is about it, so he got up and he started running around the dorm. He's like, yeah, I'm J-Rock from Liberty County. And I just remember him saying that, doing like a victory lap. And then he got back on the dude. Dude's out, unconscious, bleeding all over the place. I'm thinking he's dying. And he gets back on him and just starts doing it again and beating him again. Like I said, I'm like, where's the... Well, this female officer finally comes out of the booth. She comes out of the booth, and J-Rock's friends try to come stop him because J-Rock's fixing to kill this dude. Like, I'm thinking he might already be dead, but if he ain't dead now, 1 or 2 more blows, he's done. So the J-Rock's buddies come to stop him from killing him, and the officer tells him, no, don't touch him, leave him alone. And I thought that, this female officer, I thought, what do you do? You got mace on you, got all this stuff on you. You need to be stopping him. But she wanted to play out. It's like she liked watching this dude fixing to kill this dude. It was like one of the most evil things I'd ever witnessed up front as a person. Like, I hung around some killers and stuff like that, but I never witnessed an authority figure wanting another inmate to kill another inmate when people were there trying to stop it. And she stopped them from stopping it. Anyways, he beat him again. Long story short, they took him out. I don't know if he killed him or not. I don't know what happened. I ended up getting shipped a couple days later. And so I don't know. But that was the craziest, most violent. That right there, I don't even like to watch UFC after. See, that traumatized me so much, because I used to like watching UFC and boxing and fighting and stuff like that. But when you witness something firsthand like that and you think you're witnessing a murder, and this dude just won't stop beating him and beating him and beating him, and it's like you care about, it's another human life. You're like, dang, man, okay, I get it, he made you mad, but don't kill him. You know, this man's probably got a family and some kids out there and stuff. And then the officer came in and was just like promoting it and wanting it to happen. That just, it traumatized me on another level, and I don't even like to see fighting anymore.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
All right, so any other memories or experiences from Florida prisons that you can share before we wrap everything up? Funny, goofy, weird.
Man, I'm drawing blank right now. If I thought about it for a minute, I'd probably come up with something.
All right, just overall, when it comes to all 3 prison bids from Tennessee, Kentucky, and Florida, do you feel like your incarcerations had a positive impact upon your life in totality, or negative?
I mean, eventually it had a positive reaction, but that was a whole God thing, though. But really, it made me a worse person. Like, my first 2 times, it made me a worse person because Tennessee didn't have any programs or anything like that. Kentucky definitely didn't have any programs or anything. Like, at least the facilities I was there, in the years I was there, they didn't have any kind of nothing. Not a lot of church services, not a lot of rehabilitative things. It wasn't an environment conducive to growth and things of that nature. So my first 2 bids, I definitely came out worse. Like, in my mind, I wanted to do better, but I didn't have anything available to help me sharpen some tools, you know, to live a different life, because I didn't know how to live a good life. You know what I mean? I didn't know how to be responsible and stuff like that. So all I learned in there was how to get over, scheme, connive, you know, fight, whatever, all that type of stuff like that. Florida prison system at least had a lot of programs to offer, but it was far more violent than the other two prison systems. And when you go and do programs in Florida prison system, you immediately become prey. Like, if you go to a faith-based program for the prison system, I remember at Gulf had the faith-based program system, and the officers would let the gang members from the other dorms come in and rob the guys in the faith-based system. So it's like you're a target when you're in these programs, because they know you're trying to do better. They know you're trying to walk a different life. So they know you're less likely to put up resistance if they come and do something to you. So you become prey to them. So you're an outcast if you want to do anything better with your life in the Florida prison system. So that it was hard to change, man. You just had to finally come to a point to where, like, if you're not strong and you're not willing to just stand up and be like, whatever, I'm changing. I don't care what you say about me. I don't care what you call me, or I don't care how many times you come up and try to hit me in the face. I'm still going to change. You know what I mean? I'm still going to do things to better myself. If you're able to do that, yeah, it's going to come out. And I was eventually able to get to that point and do that. And then I eventually got to where I knew how to relate to people. So I would just talk to them about, you know, man, hey, look, I'm just trying to live a different life, man. You know what I mean? And when you come real with people like that, man, they kind of respect it and they'll back up off you and they'll go get somebody else. But so eventually the Florida prison system kind of, I hate to give them credit because I really feel like it was to God, but at least they offered the programs available when I was come to that point, was ready to change, that they were there and they were available. So a few months into my incarceration, man, I just had this powerful experience, man. I come to the end of myself, man. I got so depressed in my life to where I just cried out one day. I didn't believe in God, and I just cried out to God, and I said, God, if you're real, I don't even believe. I said, but I messed up and I need help. And he came into my life in such a miraculous, powerful way and just transformed me, transformed my heart, changed my way of thinking, completely restored all these relationships with my family members and stuff like that. And it was just such a powerful way. It changed me and it made me a believer, and I started to walk differently. I started to look at life differently. And man, I went through prison like that. Almost my whole entire prison bid with that was God walking with me by my side, man.
Amen, bro. Praise God. All right. So also, man, real briefly, since you've been out, bro, how has your transition been? So what are you doing now? How long have you been out? And this, in a nutshell, bro, how was that transition?
So when I first got out, man, it was amazing. God had blessed me in all these areas, man, and things were happening for me. Things were good, you know. I got my license back real easy. So I got out, man, and this place called A. Brown Ministry, this Inspire program, was willing to take me in and give me a place to live and stuff. And I went through this professional development course with them, and it was just a blessing, man. It's free rent there for the first 6 months, so that was really good. But now I'm in the job seeking phase, and that's a struggle for me right now, because every little company I go to, man, they want to do background checks on me. And like I said, I got all kinds of stuff on my background, multiple felonies and multiple different counties. So it's just hard for them to get past that and give me a chance, you know. And I get it, you know. It's it's their business, man, and they don't want to hire somebody that's going to come in and do something crazy. So it's hard to get somebody to give you a shot right now. So that's my struggle. That's what I'm going through. But other than that, man, I'm doing good. God's blessing me, man. I got people in my life that are trying to mentor me, that help me, that I can fellowship with. Things are really, really good, man. I'm free. I'm happy about that. I didn't think I was going to make it out. I'm out here. I'm happy to have these struggles.
Amen, bro. And then lastly, man, if you could send a kite and shoot them boys a message who are still incarcerated, bro, what would it be? What would you say to them?
Man, I just stay focused on, you know, what's important in life, man. Don't lose sight. It's easy. The prison system is like a vortex, man. It'll just suck you into little small petty dramas in the dorm or on the compound, or who's doing what, or who, all this stuff, man. There's a bigger picture in life, you know, and it's hard. We lose sight of that inside of prison, man. But remain focused on that big picture. Take a step back and look at what's really important in your life. Your family members, you know, your friends, relationships, your spiritual walk with God. You know, those things are what we need to focus on the daily, and grow in those areas, man, and not the little petty little stuff that's going on in the prison system, in the dorm, what time we go in a wreck or this and that. Man, who cares about any of that, man? That's going to happen or it's not going to happen. My name's Ty, and this is the Incarceration Podcast.
And listen, if you've done any time, I'm talking about a county jail, state penitentiary, federal, or even drug programs, whatever. If you want to share your story on this channel, go ahead and email me at eithekingbooking. Go ahead and put your stories in the comments below. If there's anything that I talked about slightly, you want me to go more in depth on, or anything I haven't talked about at all, and it's a good idea, drop it in the comments. Let me know. And also remember, I am a rapper. My artist name is E.I. the King. You can find my music on all platforms. I also have another channel, YouTube channel, my official artist channel, E.I. the King. And I also have another podcast. It's called Let Me Talk Bro, where I talk more so about my life, music, ministry, and all these things. Also, I have a Patreon with exclusive content. Everything is in the description below. So listen, man, till the next time, it's your boy, E.I. the King.